Bella Ramsey was supposed to be HBO's crown jewel, the fearless breakout star who brought Ellie to life in The Last of Us. When Season 1 dropped, critics and fans alike praised her performance. It was raw, emotional, unforgettable. She had taken one of gaming's most beloved characters and given her a new, powerful identity on screen. But something changed. By Season 2, the applause faded. Fans noticed the cracks. Ellie was supposed to be 5 years older, but visually and emotionally, nothing had changed. Viewers felt disconnected. The stakes were higher, the tone darker, but Ellie still acted like the same impulsive 14-year-old. Some tried to defend it as creative choice. Others weren't so forgiving. Then Bella lit the fuse. In a now viral interview, she casually said, "If you don't like it, don't watch it." The quote exploded across the internet. To fans, it didn't sound bold. It sounded arrogant, dismissive, tone-deaf. And just like that, the girl once hailed as the soul of the show became its most divisive figure. The backlash wasn't just loud, it was deafening. Online forums ignited. YouTube channels picked apart every quote, every scene, every offhand remark Bella made. TikTok turned her interviews into memes. Hashtags like the Replace Ellie and "O Last Office Ruined" began trending globally. Fan petitions gathered tens of thousands of signatures. Reddit threads ran pages deep with complaints. It wasn't just about Ellie anymore. It was about betrayal. Longtime fans felt like the show had abandoned its roots, and Bella had become the unwilling face of that change. Behind the scenes, the fallout was even more brutal. Merch sales plummeted. Toys, collector's items, even official Ellie-branded gear sat untouched in warehouses. Fan events were canceled. Online sentiment tanked. And inside HBO headquarters, panic was setting in fast. Then came the moment no one expected. Bella Ramsey was out. Gone. Not announced, not explained, just erased. Promo posters vanished. Marketing material pulled. Her face disappeared from the franchise almost overnight. And the replacement? That's where things got truly unhinged. Rachel Zegler. Yes, that Rachel Zegler. The same actress who had been buried in controversy after controversy over her role in Disney's Snow White remake. She had clashed with fans, stirred headlines with off-script interviews, and even sparked rumors of a falling out with Disney itself. She was the last person anyone thought HBO would cast as Ellie. But they did, and the internet caught fire all over again. Inside HBO's executive offices, the vibe was nothing short of chaos. Leaked memos and insider reports painted a desperate picture. Emergency meetings, crisis PR, and furious finger-pointing. The numbers were brutal. Viewer interest in The Last of Us 3 was tanking. Social media sentiment was abysmal. And the merchandise? Dead weight. HBO had a choice: double down on Bella and risk dragging the franchise down, or cut her loose. Insiders say the shift happened fast. Bella, once seen as an unstoppable force, was suddenly labeled radioactive. Too controversial, too opinionated, too much risk. Publicly, HBO stayed silent. Privately, the knives were out. And when the final decision came, it was ruthless. Dropping Bella wasn't just a casting change, it was the first domino in a massive overhaul. Word leaked that HBO wasn't just replacing Ellie, they were rebooting the entire direction of The Last of Us 3. The script was being rewritten from scratch, characters reevaluated, entire arcs thrown out. The goal? Strip away the divisive political tone that had crept into Season 2 and return to what made the original game a global phenomenon: gritty, emotional, character-driven survival. Even legacy characters rumored to be axed are now reportedly being brought back. The message from the top was clear: fix this, or the franchise dies. For some fans, it was a welcome shift. For others, it looked like pure damage control. But either way, HBO was betting everything on one last shot at redemption. With Bella gone, Rachel Zegler stepped into the firestorm. She wasn't just taking over the role, she was inheriting the entire weight of a broken fandom. The backlash started instantly. Her old interviews resurfaced. Social media lit up with side-by-side comparisons. Fans questioned her voice, her look, her tone, everything. Some welcomed the change, calling her a bold, risky choice who might bring new energy to the role. Others saw it as a disastrous misstep that would only deepen the divide. But for HBO, this wasn't about pleasing fans. This was a calculated move. They wanted shock value, headlines, controversy. Zegler guaranteed all of that. Whether she can actually carry the role, that's the part nobody agrees on. And the fan base? It's more fractured than ever. Absolutely. Here's a significantly longer and more in-depth version of Sections 7 and 8, keeping the high retention tone, dramatic pacing, and strong transitions. This will push us closer to your 20,000 to 30,000 character target and maintain viewer interest through emotional weight and escalating stakes. For Bella Ramsey, the fall wasn't just fast, it was merciless. This wasn't a slow fade or a quiet transition, it was a full-on erasure. One day, she was the face of The Last of Us. The next, she was gone. And the silence around her exit only made it worse. Sources close to the production claim that Bella didn't even get the professional courtesy of a formal phone call. No meeting, no statement, no warning. She found out about her replacement the same way millions of fans did, through social media buzz, insider leaks, and anonymous whispers making their way through Hollywood back channels. In other words, total blindsiding. Behind closed doors, she was devastated. And who wouldn't be? This wasn't just any role, it was the role that defined her post-Game of Thrones career, the character that cemented her as a leading force in the new generation of prestige television. Being recast in silence wasn't just a professional hit, it was a personal betrayal, and she fought back. Not publicly, there were no fiery interviews, no scathing tweets, but internally, Bella reportedly tried to get answers. She called HBO execs directly, demanding to know what happened, why she was being replaced, why her face was suddenly scrubbed from every piece of marketing material. And those calls? Crickets. No one picked up, no one replied. It was as if she had been wiped off the company's contact list entirely. Her team worked overtime to stop the bleeding. Behind the scenes, PR firms were brought in. Crisis managers contacted networks. Agents tried reviving projects. But it didn't matter. The message was already out there. And it was loud. Bella Ramsey was no longer welcome. Not on this set, not in this story, and possibly not in Hollywood's inner circle. It didn't take long for the dominoes to fall. High-profile projects she was once in talks for suddenly moved in a different direction. Brand deals slowed. Industry contacts stopped returning calls. Even former allies in the press, those who once celebrated her boldness and individuality, started going quiet. It was the kind of distancing that's never officially acknowledged, but always felt. And it was happening in real time. What made it all the more tragic was the silence. Bella didn't go on a press tour. She didn't clap back online. She didn't post cryptic captions or go live on Instagram. She just disappeared. Her absence said more than any quote could. A vanishing act, deliberate, painful, and complete. For a young actress once dubbed the future of prestige drama, the fall from grace wasn't just swift, it was surgical, executed without mercy. And what made it worse? The role that was supposed to define her legacy now belonged to someone else. And now everything hinges on one question. Was it worth it? HBO didn't just swap out an actress. They detonated their own flagship franchise to do it. They bet the entire future of The Last of Us on a decision that no one saw coming and that millions still don't understand. Bringing in Rachel Zegler wasn't just a casting choice. It was a calculated shockwave. One that fractured the fan base and set fire to social media. But will it work? Because right now, HBO is walking a razor's edge. On one side, a successful reboot that could revive fan trust and restore the franchise to its former glory. On the other, a total collapse, the kind that haunts studio heads for decades. Behind the scenes, the changes are enormous, scripts rewritten from the ground up, entire character arcs restructured. Writers have reportedly been ordered to bring back the emotional heart of the original game, meaning less political commentary, more raw survival. Gone are the drawn-out divisive moments that made Season 2 so polarizing. In their place, high-stakes drama, brutal tension, and emotionally charged storytelling. The kind that made fans fall in love in the first place. But even with all these fixes, one thing remains out of HBO's control: the fans. This isn't a franchise where you can just swap parts and expect no one to notice. This is a fandom built on loyalty, emotion, and deep personal connection to the characters. And Ellie? She's not just a fictional survivor. To many fans, she's sacred. If viewers reject Rachel Zegler's take on Ellie, whether it's her voice, her expressions, or simply her presence, the backlash won't stop. It'll escalate. Memes, TikToks, video essays, boycotts, petitions, again. And if that happens, HBO may be facing more than just a disappointing season. They'll be facing a full-scale implosion of the franchise. There's a reason The Last of Us was once called HBO's crown jewel. It wasn't just about the visuals or the post-apocalyptic setting. It was about the connection, the story, the heart, the pain, the relationships. and those things can't be faked, they can't be forced, and they definitely can't be recast without consequences. So here's where we stand. Bella Ramsey, erased, Rachel Zegler, inserted. The story rewritten, the tone overhauled, the risk, massive. If this reboot lands, HBO pulls off one of the most ambitious comebacks in TV history. But if it flops, if the fans don't buy in, if they walk away for good, then The Last of Us 3 becomes more than just a failed season. It becomes a cautionary tale, a what not to do in the annals of TV history. And the cost won't just be measured in ratings, it'll be felt in careers, reputations, and billions of dollars in lost legacy. Because no matter how powerful a studio is, it only takes one fandom to burn it all down. So here we are, on the edge of the most controversial chapter in the Last of Us saga. The franchise that once defined television excellence is now in full crisis mode. HBO has cleared the table, reshuffled the deck, and placed every chip on one card. Rachel Zegler as Ellie. Bella Ramsey, erased from the record like she never existed. The original vision, torn apart and rewritten from the ground up. The fans, divided, disillusioned, and watching every move like hawks. And HBO, quiet. No statements, no explanations. Just a cold, calculated rollout of their new vision, hoping the buzz drowns out the backlash. But the internet doesn't forget, and fans don't forgive easily. The real question now isn't just whether The Last of Us 3 will succeed, it's whether HBO can even survive the storm it created. Because this isn't just about one actress or one series. It's about trust, about loyalty, about what happens when a network gambles everything on shock value, and underestimates the people who made it great in the first place. If Rachel Zegler delivers something extraordinary, if she surprises us, moves us, rebuilds the soul of Ellie, then HBO pulls off the ultimate comeback, a redemption arc worthy of the show itself. But if she doesn't, if the fanbase walks away for good, then this isn't just the end of The Last of Us. This is the fall of HBO's legacy. And maybe the most haunting part? Bella Ramsey has said nothing. No angry post, no apology, no defense. Just silence. A silence that feels less like defeat and more like the final scene in a story no one thought would end like this. The cameras are rolling, the scripts are locked, the reboot is underway. But the audience? They haven't made up their mind. And now all that's left to ask is this: did HBO just save its most iconic franchise or bury it alive?